What happens when a family celebration meant to spread joy becomes the moment that tears everything apart? What happens when a gender reveal party transforms into a confrontation so intense that even the studio audience later said they felt the floor shake beneath them? Before we dive in, subscribe to Channel Roots of Revenge and hit like and comment, because you will absolutely want to weigh in on what's about to unfold. It began the evening I arrived at my sister's gender reveal party, an event she orchestrated with the dramatic flair of a red carpet premiere. Weeks of texts, missed calls, and breathless messages insisting I had to be there. She sounded excited, too excited. Not the soft, glowing excitement of an expectant mother. No. Hers had an edge to it, sharp and staged. When I walked in, the atmosphere felt strange. Guests gathered in awkward clusters, whispering as though they were waiting for a scandal, not a celebration. Pink and blue decorations shimmered under dim lights. A towering cake sat in the corner like a prop from a reality show, and yet the mood didn't match any of it. Something electric. Something tense. Then she appeared. My sister glided toward me with a smile that was just a shade too perfect, the kind you practice in a mirror before stepping on stage. She held something in her hand. No, she presented it, like an award envelope. The ultrasound. "Isn't she beautiful?" she asked. But her eyes weren't on the picture. They were locked on me. I forced a smile. "She's perfect." Her smile sharpened. "She looks just like her father." The room stuttered. A few guests looked away. One woman bit her lip. A man choked on his drink. That was when Jason, her husband, walked in. Usually he looked polished and confident, like someone who lived in front of cameras. But tonight he looked wrecked, pale, tense, on the edge of something he couldn't hide. My sister lifted the ultrasound high. "Look, Jason," she called out. "Our daughter." Jason swallowed. "Yes," he said softly. Too softly. His voice wavered. People noticed. Everyone noticed. My sister didn't care. Or maybe she cared too much. "Since Channel Roots of Revenge is here," she suddenly announced, turning toward me, "we're doing the reveal live, for the camera." I blinked. "I didn't bring a camera crew." "That's okay," she said with a sugary smile that somehow felt like a command. "We'll improvise. You need more personal content anyway, right?" The room shifted. Eyes landed on me, on her, on Jason. Before I could protest, she clapped sharply, calling everyone to gather. Phones lifted, guests formed a semicircle as if this were a televised moment, and in her mind, it was. Jason stood beside her stiffly, his jaw clenched so tightly I saw the muscle twitch. My sister slipped an arm through his like she was anchoring him in place. "Ready?" she asked the room. No one answered. Still, she raised the confetti cannon. A loud pop split the air. Pink powder burst everywhere. Across the lights, the ceiling, the stunned faces in the crowd. Cheers erupted, but they were scattered, confused, uneven. But my sister, she wasn't looking at the pink cloud. She was staring at me again. "There she is," she said softly, almost triumphantly. "Our little girl. And she's going to have her uncle wrapped around her finger." I tried to smile, but then Jason whispered under his breath, words meant for no one else. "This isn't the right time." My sister froze. The smile slipped, just a little, enough for me to see the crack. "What did you say?" she muttered. Jason didn't speak. His hands trembled. A guest whispered, "Something's wrong." Another murmured, "They've been fighting for weeks." My sister grabbed his wrist and pulled him closer, her voice low, shaking. "Say you're happy. Say it." Jason opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The silence was suffocating. That was the moment I knew this wasn't a celebration. This wasn't a party. This was a setup, a stage, a scene crafted for drama, for attention, for an audience bigger than any of us realized. Later, On the celebrity interview stage, under harsh lights, with cameras rolling and millions watching, we would all learn why she looked at me with that strange, triumphant smile. The next day, the story was supposed to be normal. Interviews, coffee, casual laughter, but the air felt electric, charged with the residue of last night's explosion. I kept replaying the moment in my head. My sister's too-perfect smile, Jason's pale, shaking face, and that ultrasound, so small, so innocuous, yet carrying the weight of an unspoken truth. We arrived at the studio, cameras rolling, lights blinding. The audience buzzed with anticipation. They had been teased online that a family secret would be revealed. Everyone whispered guesses, a surprise pregnancy, a scandal. The tension was palpable, so thick I could feel it pressing against my chest as we took our seats. The host, a sharp-tongued celebrity known for digging into personal drama, leaned forward with that trademark smirk. "So," she said, eyes flicking to my sister, "I hear someone has a little news they just had to share." My sister's lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yes," she said softly. "We're thrilled, and we wanted everyone to see first. Especially," she paused, her gaze locking on me, "the people who matter most." I forced a nod, heart pounding. I had no idea where this was heading. Jason shifted in his seat, his hands clenched in his lap. He avoided looking at the cameras, avoided my sister, even avoided me. The host's grin widened. "And the reaction?" she asked. "People are dying to know." That was it. The dam broke. My sister held up the ultrasound like a weapon. "Isn't she beautiful?" she asked again, this time loud enough for every camera mic to catch. "She's perfect, and she's going to grow up in a family that—" Her voice faltered slightly, then steadied. "Has secrets, big ones." The audience leaned forward, some whispering, some gasping. A few phones recorded live. Comments already flooded social media. "What is she hinting at? Is Jason in trouble? Family drama incoming." Jason finally spoke, voice low, almost a growl. "Not all secrets are meant for cameras." My sister's smile sharpened, almost predatory. "But some have to be seen. Some truths can't stay behind closed doors." The host, sensing the tension, tried to ease it. "Let's slow down. We're all family here, right? Let's talk about this little one first. Isn't that why we're here?" But the calm attempt only fueled the storm. My sister leaned in, whispering, yet every word sliced the air. "You can't stop it anymore. Everyone will know, especially them." She gestured vaguely toward the audience, but her eyes stayed on Jason. His reaction was immediate. He leaned forward, voice cracking. "You promised me privacy. You promised me I wouldn't be humiliated." She laughed softly, a sound that made the studio lights feel colder. "Humiliated? No, Jason. I promised honesty. And honesty is messy. Honesty is loud. Honesty is forever." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some cheered the drama, some flinched. I could feel the tension prickling like static electricity. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every twitch, every gasp, every trembling hand. Then the bomb dropped. "Actually," my sister said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "it's not a girl." The words hung like smoke in the room. A ripple ran through the audience. A few coughed. Phones slipped from hands. The host froze. Even the cameramen hesitated, capturing the stunned silence. Jason's jaw went slack. "What? I said," my sister interrupted, eyes blazing, "it's not a girl. It's something else. Something you didn't expect." Gasps, murmurs, whispers. The social media feeds exploded in real time. "She's lying? What does she mean? Family meltdown." The host, recovering, tried to redirect. Okay. Let's break this down. Are we talking medical? Are we talking personal?" But my sister wasn't finished. She leaned closer to the camera, as though addressing millions directly. "This child, This tiny, perfect life is going to grow up in the middle of everything. Fame, lies, betrayal, and everyone watching now will see the truth before anyone else. Jason's face turned crimson. You can't do this. You can't make this public. But I just did, she said, calm, almost triumphant. The tension in the studio was unbearable. Audience members shifted in their seats, some standing to leave, others frozen, mouths open. The host tried to regain control, but even she seemed small under the weight of what had been unleashed. And then, almost casually, she dropped the final twist. Oh, and by the way, she said, tilting her head toward me, you might want to pay attention because this isn't just about them. This is about all of us. I froze. My pulse raced. My chest tightened. Cameras panned to me, live reactions capturing every micro-expression. The audience erupted, half cheering, half horrified. Comments exploded online. OMG! No way! Family drama alert! It was then I realized that this was bigger than a party, bigger than a show, bigger than any of us. This wasn't just a reveal. This was a story that would dang. The studio lights burned like spotlights on a battlefield. Every breath felt heavy, every heartbeat loud, as if the cameras themselves had learned to measure panic. My sister's smile hadn't faltered. Jason sat frozen, jaw tight, hands gripping the armrests like he was holding on to sanity itself. And I realized I was caught in the middle of a war I hadn't even signed up for. The host, sensing that the tension had crossed from dramatic to dangerous, leaned forward. Okay, deep breath. Let's just take a step back. But there was no stepping back. Not tonight. My sister turned toward him, her voice sharp now, cutting through the forced calm. You promised me you'd support this. You promised me we'd show the world who we are, and now... She leaned closer. Now you're afraid. Jason's eyes flickered to mine for a split second. That flicker, an unspoken plea, made my stomach twist. I'm not afraid, he said, voice low, tight. I don't want to destroy everything. Her laugh was soft, almost musical, but it carried a steel edge. Destroy? Jason, it's already broken. You just didn't realize it until now. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some whispered among themselves, others raised their phones, recording every second of the confrontation. Even the host's polished demeanor cracked. She glanced at the cameras nervously, clearly realizing that this wasn't a scripted moment. This was real, raw, and about to get uglier. My sister held up the ultrasound again, as if it were a trophy or a weapon, maybe both. Do you see this? She asked. Do you see what we've created? And yet you hide, you retreat, you pretend it's simple. Jason's hands trembled. He ran them through his hair, leaned forward, and finally said something that made the entire studio go still. This isn't just about me, or you, or even the baby. This is a test, and I don't want to be tested. The words hung like smoke. Her smile vanished. For a heartbeat, she looked human, angry, hurt, vulnerable. And then the mask returned. A test? She spat. This isn't a test, Jason. This is life. Messy, unpredictable, unavoidable life. And we're all on display whether we like it or not. I could feel the tension vibrating through the floor. Guests in the audience were leaning forward, some covering their mouths, others whispering frantically. The social media feed had exploded. Comments flew by in real time. She's losing it. Jason looks terrified. Family chaos. Then she dropped it. The line that silenced everything. This baby is the only thing keeping us from being completely honest with the world. And I am done hiding. Jason's face went pale, almost ghost-like. You're not thinking about the consequences. Do you even understand what you're doing? I understand perfectly, she replied, calm but cutting. I understand that people will judge, that the world will watch, and that you'll hate me for it. But I can't care anymore. Not when the truth is this close. She looked at me, and for the first time, I felt that predator-to-prey energy aimed squarely at me. You, she said softly, you've always been on the fence, watching, waiting, wondering when it's your turn to pick sides. I opened my mouth, tried to speak. My throat felt tight, my pulse slammed in my ears. But before a word came out, she continued, Now it's your turn. Who do you support, him or me? The audience held their breath. The host froze mid-sentence. Jason's face twisted in frustration and disbelief, and I realized that the cameras were no longer just cameras. They were witnesses, jury, and executioner all at once. I started, but she cut me off. You don't get to think, she said sharply. You act, you pick, you decide. Jason stood up suddenly, almost knocking his chair backward. Enough, he shouted, voice cracking. I will not be humiliated on national television. I will not. He stopped. The room was silent. Even the lights seemed to dim. My sister had done something unexpected. She pulled out her phone, held it up to the cameras, and displayed a private text conversation between us, the kind you never want public. The audience gasped audibly. Phones recorded frantically. Comments exploded. Oh no, she's showing private texts. This is insane. I can't believe this is real. Jason's hands flew to his face. How could you? I told you, she said quietly, almost tenderly. Truth is messy. Honesty is louder than silence, and you are not the only one who will feel it. For the first time, I felt my own pulse spike. Not fear, exactly, but adrenaline and dread mingled. Every eye was on me, waiting. Every camera frame held my hesitation like a crime scene. And in that moment I realized, no one walks away from this untouched. The host tried to intervene again. Okay, let's calm down, let's talk. But my sister shook her head. No, talk is over. Action is happening, and the world will see it. Jason sank into his chair, defeated. My sister's eyes glimmered victorious. The aftermath was immediate. As soon as the cameras cut, the studio was a frenzy of murmurs, whispered accusations, and frantic scrolling. Everyone's eyes were glued to their phones. The footage was already online, clips circulating like wildfire. Social media exploded, hashtags trending, comments flooding, theories forming and dissolving by the second. A family drama, a gender reveal scandal, a Jason vs. Sister. I watched Jason leave the stage, shoulders hunched, face pale. His usual composure was gone, replaced by raw exhaustion. My sister remained, still smiling, still radiant, though now that smile carried the weight of what she had done. She had taken control, exposed every vulnerability, and left us all exposed in the public eye. Backstage, the host tried to make sense of it. This isn't like anything I've ever seen, she muttered. Ratings will spike, people will talk about this for months, but is it worth it? I didn't answer. I couldn't. I was still processing the chaos she had unleashed. Every private argument, every whispered doubt, every tension between siblings and spouses had been broadcast to millions. And the worst part? It was only the beginning. The news outlets caught on within hours. Headlines blared across websites and apps. Gender reveal turns family feud public. Ultrasound bombshell exposes hidden family secrets. Celebrity family drama shocks viewers. Analysts dissected every frame, replaying Jason's trembling hands, my sister's piercing gaze, the moment she revealed the private texts. Overnight, it seemed like everyone had an opinion. Comments online were merciless. Some applauded her courage to be honest in front of the world. Others condemned her for humiliating Jason, manipulating the narrative, or turning a private moment into content. My own social media exploded with messages. Friends, strangers, and fans alike questioning my role, wondering which side I had taken, demanding to know what I really thought. The week that followed felt surreal. Every time I opened a feed, Every time I saw a clip, I felt like I was watching my family's life in fragments, replayed and twisted into interpretations I had no control over. I saw people defending Jason, people praising my sister, people dissecting my silence, analyzing my every gesture. Some clips went viral, looping endlessly, each play another reminder that our private lives were now public property. I finally confronted my sister, away from cameras and audience. The silence between us was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of traffic outside the studio window. "Why?" I asked quietly. "Why make it like this? Why put us through that?" Her eyes softened, for the first time without the mask of triumph. "Because the truth doesn't wait for permission," she said. "Because hiding it would have been worse. Because someone had to take the fall. Someone had to be brave." I shook my head. "Brave? It feels like cruelty." "Maybe," she admitted, voice low. "Maybe it is. But life isn't always gentle. The world doesn't wait for us to be ready. And now, people see the real story. They see us, the chaos, the raw truth. That's worth something." Jason didn't speak. He just stood in the corner, silent, exhausted, watching the storm he hadn't chosen but was now fully a part of. The tension between them, between all of us, had not disappeared. It had only crystallized, sharper, undeniable, permanent. By the weekend, the fallout reached another level. Talk shows, podcasts, and gossip channels dissected every second of the reveal. Fan forums erupted in speculation. Some predicted permanent rifts. Others spun theories about the unborn child's future, as though we were characters in a televised drama instead of human beings. And somewhere in the middle of it all, I felt both powerless and complicit, caught in the crossfire of family loyalty, public spectacle, and viral hysteria. Yet despite the chaos, something had shifted. Audiences were captivated. Millions were watching, debating, forming alliances with either side. The world had a story they couldn't turn away from, and whether we liked it or not, we were at the center. In those quiet moments, I realized something essential. Life will throw moments at you cannot control. People will judge, comment, dissect, and gossip. But the story, the truth, remains yours. And how you face it, how you survive it, is what defines you. So here I am, sharing this story with you, not as gossip, not as entertainment, but as a reminder of the power, the pain, and the spectacle that truth can create. And now, I want to hear from you. What would you do if you were in my shoes? How far would you go to protect truth, family, or your own sanity when the world is watching? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Every perspective matters. And if you want more stories that dive deep into the chaos, the emotion, and the raw drama of real-life moments, subscribe to Channel Roots of Revenge right now. Because this isn't the end. T.